Chevron 1, encoded.
For my ally is the Force, and the powerful ally it is. Life creates it, makes it grow.
You failed, Your Highness. I am a Jedi, like my father before me.
Cry hammer, and let's set the dogs of war.
Chevron 2, encoded.
Conan, what is best in life? Crush your enemies, see them driven before you, to hear the lamentation of your women.
It's all in the reflexes.
I'll also say that you're heavy into martial arts, Tai Chi and all that killer stuff.
I suppose we have to register you as a lethal weapon.
Chevron 3, encoded.
And somebody ought to belt you in the mouth. But I won't. I won't. The hell I will.
Chevron 4, encoded.
Do you expect me to talk? No, Mr. Bond, I expect you to die.
Chevron 5, encoded.
You take the blue pill. The story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to. You take the red pill. You stay in Wonderland. And I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes.
Chevron 6, encoded.
That's why you can, monkey boy.
Great Scott!
Back off, man. I'm a scientist.
You shall not pass!
I thought I'd die fighting side by side with Alf.
What about side by side with a friend?
A day may come when the courage of men fails, when we forsake our friends and break all bonds of fellowship. But it is not this day.
Chevron 7 is locked.
Howdy, all. Welcome back to Saturday Night Drive-In, where we take a break from everything and just talk movies. We talk movies. We have a good time. We have, Jed, we have intelligent discussion, don't we?
We try to, at least.
We try to. How you doing, buddy?
I'm alive. I'm here. And like you said, we're going to be just talking movies. And there's something fun and helpful about that. It improves the quality of my life every time we sit down and talk about a good movie, or even just a movie in general, where our conversations, like you said, we're trying to have good discussions, and that alone makes this a valuable experience for me. This is by far my favorite show that we do, by far.
I love everything
Not that it
we
does
do.
Anything for our channels, but
hey, maybe someday.
Randomly it does. Like 10 Things I Hate About You is my most watched live stream ever, which doesn't make sense to me because I don't even think we had a good discussion about that movie.
No, I mean, I enjoy that movie, and I thought you'd like it a little more than you did, but I don't know.
I didn't hate it. It was just like,
you never know. You never know what people are gonna be interested in. See, this is the thing about this show. Your little YouTube lingo for those watching. This is what we call evergreen content, where we don't. You could pick this up at any point in time, and it's relevant. Doesn't matter what's going on. We don't try to pin it down in a moment in time. We just talk about the subject matter, the movie. So it's just a discussion / review / analysis back and forth. So it goes on. It can go forever. You never know when these things might someday catch the eye. You never know, because they're going to be there forever until the YouTube servers go down or they nuke my account for one reason or another. But
happen someday to all of us.
Yeah, someday. But hopefully by then it won't matter anymore.
Hopefully,
anyway, though,
Markiplier Level being the #1 movie in the world.
Yeah. So I mean, this is the show that, by all circumstances, this isn't something that really pushes our channels along. We do this for the fun of it. We do this because we like talking movies. We like an excuse to watch some movies, and sometimes watch a movie we haven't seen. Which is more often the case for Jed than me, because I've seen so much shit. But either way, so we do this because we enjoy it, and it's not because these are big numbers for us. Either way, but that's why we're here. We're here to have a good time, and we appreciate for those who do enjoy it. We hope you do. Hit those like buttons, subscribe to the channel. Let's get going today. Jed, this was your pick this week. Your reasoning was because one of the actors is in the news. But what do you got for us this week?
Well, we're going to be talking about Remember the Titans, a classic Disney football movie from about 20, 30 years ago.
25.
And
This
25.
is
So
25th anniversary. Yeah.
25th anniversary. Okay, so it's apt in more ways than one. The reason I picked it was, yes, the guy who plays Jerry Bertier in this film just got cast as the live action Kratos. So I wanted to highlight one of the things I knew from his career because I haven't seen Sons of Anarchy or anything like that. And I just genuinely really love this movie. I grew up with it. And I'm not going to rate it anything insane. As much as I love this movie, it's not going to get a 9 out of 10 or anything like that.
Yeah.
I consider this a feel-good movie. Even with the subject matter, the heavy,
There's a
heavy subject
lot of
matter.
uncomfortable stuff in the first act. It's very uncomfortable.
Really is, but it's still it's an easy movie. I consider it a very easy movie, not really breaking any molds, not trying to do anything crazy, just showing the history of this event, getting us attached to these characters, because I think the character work is the best part about this film.
Well, these are real people. I mean, a little hyped up because
Dramatized.
Dramatized, good word, dramatized. A little dramatized, but these were real people going through these real events. And I even think at one point in the movie, during I think the second act, the third act montage of their winning streak, I'm pretty sure they spliced in real footage from
There
those
is a
games.
point there. I was thinking it might be real.
Well, you know why I think so? Because they showed in 4:3 aspect ratio, and they're doing stuff. So I'm pretty sure. And it's the 70s. There was such a thing as color television in the 70s. So I'm pretty sure they spliced in the stuff. It looked pretty real to me. But yeah, so Remember the Titans, 2000, year 2000. We just passed the 25th anniversary of it. And you look at this movie for a lot of different reasons. And it's a pretty packed cast of future notable stars. You got a young, skinny Ryan Gosling before he started working out and become a sex symbol drooling for women. You got a young Michael Faison who would basically plays Michael Faison in most things. He's got Petey's Petey and everything. He's whatever, but he would go on to have he has a solid career, but most notably for Scrubs, successful for Scrubs. Right. Of course, got Denzel, and a lot of other people just sprinkled in
that you'll recognize from other stuff if you don't know their names. Like Youst, the original head coach who becomes the assistant coach. He's been in a ton of stuff, action movies from the 90s. Like he was in Armageddon.
Yeah. There's a lot of familiar faces throughout this whole movie. And it makes it a well-acted movie. I have no problem with anybody's performances in this movie. None of them. And now to go back to what I said a moment ago, when I said that the first act is generally uncomfortable when you have everything up through the training camp. Because, got to understand this. I lived through the 80s and the 90s as a kid. Jed, you were born at the turn of the century. By the 80s, everything that is the civil unrest over racism and stuff like that, by the time you get to me in the 80s, that kind of stuff really isn't there anymore. At least I lived up north, so maybe not. But
the 70s is considered a transitional point.
Yeah, and it was already past that. I mean, racism was not solved in a moment, and even to this day, it's not solved completely. But it had transitioned to more acceptable terms. I mean, there was no segregation in restaurants anymore, and there was no our side, their side at a stadium, all kind of stuff like that, as you see at the beginning of this movie in 1971 in Northern Virginia, where this movie takes place. And you watch this, and as someone who grew up in a post-racial society where it isn't everywhere and it's not breathing down your neck and you're not raised that way, it feels weird to watch it. When I say uncomfortable, it just feels weird because despite the fact that we joke a lot, I'm being a racist, people call us racist all the time, or we angrily say stuff on live streams. Just watch Ballbusters last night. I went off a little bit, but I was triggered by fucking commies, so it's not my fault.
It's called humor.
Yeah, and it's also called humor. And I have a black friend named Dre who gives me a pass.
There are actually people who consider I have a black friend named Dre on the same level as I'd like Remember the Titans. Like Remember the Titans is actually you're a white person trying to pretend he's not racist.
Yeah.
Like this movie.
Yeah.
This and Glory Road, a lot of people talk about like that.
So, but in all seriousness, I was not raised a racist. I was raised in a colorblind life where I don't think about it. It took a lot of years later when the social unrest of the early 2000s now, when you have a bunch of assholes stirring shit up, for them to force it into my mind. I wasn't raised that way. And I never had hate in my heart, and I still don't have hate in my heart, but I have annoyance in my heart for certain type of commie Marxist agitators. Point is, getting off track. Point is
the soul of a man, as they say in the film.
Soul man. Point is, it's uncomfortable to watch because I didn't live it. Jed, you didn't live it.
No,
not at all.
It's exactly what people think is happening right now, though.
And that's exactly where I was going with this. None of that is happening right now. In the 50s and the 60s and those early 70s, when integration was being put into effect across the country, there really was tension. There really was hate. People, the white folks behaved like that to black folks in towns like that. I mean, they didn't drop the gamer word in this movie because this is a 2000s Disney movie. They were not going to drop gamer word.
They dance around other terms.
Yeah,
but they didn't drop the big one.
I mean, they said the word monkey a few times. They used the euphemism. They used the euphemisms a lot, but they didn't actually come out and say the gamer words, which were probably actually said during these events. 100% particular words were said. Although they did get in a cracker. It's okay to say cracker. That's fine. But they got in cracker. But bottom line is this, though. It's uncomfortable to watch because we weren't raised in it. And it was weird. But the movie successfully brings across that tension, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah. It does a great job at portraying the tension without demonizing a whole lot of people. And that's what I really like about it. It's a nuanced take of that era. Because at the beginning of the film, like you're mentioning in the first act, a lot of the white football players are being just as racist as anybody at the end of the film or anything like that. They were really rough at the beginning.
Yeah.
The film shows as soon as they, break down those barriers of communication and really see they're real people, just like anybody else. They're actually good people beneath all of that racism as well. So
except that one guy.
Except that one guy. But prejudice is a veneer that if you can crack through, there are good people beneath nearly any prejudice. And the film does a great job of portraying that. And if this came out in the modern era, all the white players would be evil, and then they have to kowtow when they finally realize, or anything like that. But this shows that they were strong people with moral fiber in all sides of this debate that really just, once the communication started to happen, everyone started to realize that. Because there is anti-white racism in this movie from the black players, which there's a lot of legitimate grievances with each other throughout the film. And that's another thing I really like Youst at the beginning. He was the high school coach of this high school for years. He's on his way to the Hall of Fame. He's well known, well liked. And because these two schools are integrating, he's going to be fired or placed as the assistant head coach. He loses his position, which is honestly kind of fucked up. Like, I would not have blamed him if he had just left. No. And that had nothing to do with racism. He had real grievances.
Yeah.
And so this film does a great job, in my opinion, of showing the complexities of the situation of the era without saying, yeah, white people, they're evil. Nothing like that. It's a very intelligent portrayal.
And it shows the evolution of all the characters. I mean, Yost isn't on board until about halfway through the movie. He still has revisions, just like Denzel's Boone is not fully on board because he's keeping his persona of tough guy intact. But it's that game where the good old boys are going to force a loss to get Boone fired because one loss and he's out. And Yost, who is an honorable man, and also let the boys play. Don't take this away from these boys who have earned their right to play this. Don't ruin it for them just for your corrupt agenda. And he basically throws away his shot at the Hall of Fame to make sure that those boys get a chance at a fair game. And that's manning up and realize seeing the bigger picture. And back to your point about everybody being rough during the training camp part of it is there's something about, and there's a reason this is an important movie. And the reason it's important to that in historically, in the historical essence of this, that this was performed through a team, a sports team, because I've played on sports teams. I'm sure you've played on sports teams. I mean, there's something about the brotherhood of a team where you form these bonds, where you learn to rely on the guy next to you, or for all that you have to trust your teammate, because there is no, and I hate to use this old catchphrase, there is no I in team. Julius later on, after the accident during the championship game, says none of us are perfect individually, we never will be, but as a team, we're perfect. We are a team, and it was it was a good decision to try and break down these barriers of integration by introducing it to a sports team, especially a football team, which
in the South,
which requires serious teamwork at the line of scrimmage, trusting your blockers, stuff like that on the offense. And if you can break down, in the movie shows, you break it all down, you get through it, they begin to, it goes beyond the color of his skin. It's these for lack of a better term, these are my battle brothers. These are the men I'm in the trenches with, as we are fighting in what essentially a gladiatorial sport. And it means something, and it's very important that that's where they bond. I think it's very important that historically it happened with the football team. I think it's very important to look at it that way, because special things happen on sports teams. Special things. I mean, if you only know it if you've been there. You only know it if you've been there.
I can attest to it. It's the same way with me at basic training, where we come in, we don't know each other, and by the end of it, we're willing to march into hell together. That's really how we felt at the end of basic training, and that forges bonds deeper than anything else. I don't know if you know the classic phrase, blood is thinner than or thicker than water.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard that phrase? Do you know that phrase is actually misquoted?
No, I did not.
The original quote is something along the lines of, the water of the womb is thinner than the blood of the covenant. So it actually means the opposite of what people use it for. So the bond of brothers on the battlefield is stronger than the bond of water from the womb. And sports movies really bring that across. I'm not much of a sports fan. I don't watch sports. I played a little bit in high school, middle school, and everything like that, but I don't watch it. I don't care about sports movies, with only a few exceptions. And this is one of those few exceptions, because it's about so much more than the game itself. It's about these characters. It's about forging these bonds, and they go on arcs. There's some incredibly well done arcs throughout this film. Bertier and Julius being the best examples of it, because they were the de facto leaders of both races at the beginning, the most vitriolic against each other. And you don't need to look past the evolution of the nickname Superman. I don't know if you appreciated that, but I really appreciated that, with Julius calling Bertier Superman at the beginning, because, you're all-American strong boy, you think you're the best as ever. And at the end of the film, when he sees his friend broken in that hospital bed, he's like, you can't be hurt.
Physically broken, but not mentally. Because his first line is, I hear there's Olympics for guys in wheelchairs. And he goes on to be an Olympian.
Yeah, he does.
And
then
then
the shot put is what they said at the end.
Yeah. So I mean, now I was into sports for a long time. I'm a lapsed sports fan. I mean, for years, I followed just about most of the major sports, exception of hockey. I followed just about everything. I tried to get into hockey, I never really could. But I follow football. Being from New York, I was a Giants fan, so I've seen the Giants. Here's how I qualified. I've seen the Giants win multiple Super Bowls in my lifetime, so I'm good. I was a rabid basketball fan and have had many favorite teams. Eventually, through the half of my adult life, I was a Celtics fan. I've seen the Celtics win some epic finals, NBA finals. So I see that. I've seen the Yankees, again, as a New York guy, as a New York born and bred. I've seen the Yankees win plenty of championships. So I've seen all my sports teams win. And that is why I'm able to allow myself to get away from, because to me, it's not as good as it used to be back in the day, back in the 80s and 90s, even the early to mid 2000s or to early 2000s. It's not what it was. So I lapsed. Now I don't care, but I was there. I was as hyped up as everybody. I suffered sports depression when my team lost. I played myself. I've played every single sport except for hockey. I've done football. I've done baseball. I've done basketball. I've done soccer. I've done, in my own choice, fencing for a while too. I've done all the major sports except for hockey. And I've been there. I've been there. And that's why when I watch a sports movie, back to the reason thing is, when I watch a sports movie, it rekindles those old embers of I remember what it's like to not only watch it but be there and get hyped up for it. Be like, yeah, let's go. Those feelings are still there, they're just buried deep down because they're not necessary anymore. And at the moment, it's not like I have a kid who I'm gonna have to let them play a sport or anything. Although I'll be honest, after getting my head knocked off in football, if I ever have a son, I'm not letting him near the game. I am not
Really?
just because of the trauma physically you suffer. Just because I think I've told the story. My last game in high school before I quit, it was my freshman year, so it was JV. It was freshman year, but for our very last game, they brought down one of the varsity guys as a ringer on the team for us. But during warm up drills, he took my head off. My own guy took my head off. I saw green for 10 minutes. My entire world was tinged in green. I probably had a slight concussion.
Wow. Probably, yeah. That's not good.
Yeah, and that was when I said, I am done. Every year for the rest of high school, coach would say, Adam, you can come out for team this year? Sorry, coach. Not happening. Not happening. So when I saw green, I mean, literally, everything had a green tinge. It was creepy as fuck. And I said, that's it. And I said to myself, if I have ever son, I'm not letting him near this game. You can play basketball, you can play baseball, have fun. I am not letting you play football because you get your head knocked off. Something goes seriously wrong.
Yeah, there's a lot worse injuries. Yeah. The only thing really worse is rugby. Rugby is a killer sport.
Well, there's no protection in that. It's all rough and tough. Yeah.
I was lucky when I was playing football that I was bigger than everybody else. When I played 8th grade, I was already 5'10", and most of the kids I was playing with were like 5'2". So I was in no danger. I still wasn't the biggest guy on the team though. When I was in 8th grade, we had a guy who was my age. Like I grew up with him, so we knew he wasn't a ringer or some guy who was in the back. He was 6'4" with a beard in 8th grade.
Damn,
he was blasting some
powerful testosterone. That's a powerful testosterone right there, dude.
So, we were winning everywhere because he could just walk through the line of scrimmage and
they're not going to stop him. Not going to stop him. I mean, and I was back then on JV, we were playing Iron Man, both offense, defense, because we were a small private school team.
Oh, same.
And I had these. I think I've told these stories. When the season started, I had picked up these gloves from a sports store that had this special square padding all over the back of my hands, and I felt no pain, nothing. So I was a fucking beast because I could put my hands up, punch, nothing could stop me. One time, I lent the gloves to some punk ass who another punk ass on the team because I wasn't playing that game really. So he said, "Can I borrow your gloves?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure, no problem." He leaves them on the fucking field.
I think
when we were on a away team, we were on a away game. Leaves them on the fucking field, and I saw some other jackass wearing them. They picked them up, and I couldn't get them because I had no way to claim they were mine. And then I got some half-assed versions, and we played a game. My hands got crunched horribly, and it triggered something in my brain. Oh wow, I lost my edge. I completely lost my edge. I lost my edge. And at 14 years old, I couldn't get it back. I didn't have the mental fortitude to get it back. And we're not talking. And then I have great coaches who could kind of, will me back into it. So I kind of just faded into the background. And I remember that final game, especially after I got my head taken off, I just stood there near the bench thinking, don't put me in, don't put me in, don't put me in. My head ain't right. I think now, retrospective, after they saw me take my head off, that's the reason they didn't put me in. Because I took such a bad hit during warm-ups. But if you lose your edge, you lose your edge.
Oh yeah, I got the yips as well in high school football, and it was hard to get back. I was luckily 16 or whatever it was, so I was a little bit older.
Yeah, I was just 14 when that
Yeah,
happened, and it
it's
was at
hard with the yips.
now after that I started playing a lot of basketball, not high school, but with friends, big up, and then I found my love for basketball, and I really put a lot of time into footwork, movements, and I became a beast in the paint. A new edge took over, and of course, at that time, I hadn't hit my full growth spurt yet. I was only about 5'11", maybe 6 feet on a good day. I didn't get that extra 2 inches to put me to 6'1" for a few more years, so I wasn't exactly large, and of course, there are lots of larger dudes. Point is, though, the whole reason we talk about this, and not to move for a second, is to try and get across the point of my whole point is watching a sports movie still resonates with me. We got on a real tangent there, but it's a fun tangent.
It's at least relevant.
It's relevant.
We can
it's
tie
relevant.
it in with
it shows we understand. We understand the movie. We understand what these kids are going through. I think that's the bottom reason why I talked about it. I can connect to what those boys are going through in the movie. I understand the drills, the practices. Of course, what I did was never as hardcore as what they did.
It was pretty hardcore. Like football camp. I've never gone to a football camp like that before school started. Never done anything like that, especially when you had to travel to it at Gettysburg. Maybe like a week of practice before school starts, doing a couple extra drills. That's fairly normal. But a whole camp where you have to dress up in a suit and tie. I get what he was trying to go for.
Yeah.
He was doing more than just making a team. He had to really bring races together in the 70s. So it makes sense why he had to go a little above and beyond. But while we're talking about the yips, one character that most people write off as comedic relief that I think is still very well written is Petey.
You're killing me, Petey. That one line, I have used that line for 20 years. You're killing me, Petey. I love that line. But yeah.
But I don't necessarily blame him for cracking under the pressure, because they're under an immense amount of pressure with the segregation, with Coach Boone being kind of the hard ass that he is. And Petey's playing on defense, which he doesn't have the training for. He's only been doing it for a couple weeks and everything's riding on him. Yes, he's very good at it naturally, but it's still something he's not comfortable with. So yeah, he cracks under the pressure in the second to last game and literally runs off the field and leaves. So I get where Yost was coming from. How do you feel about Yost in that final game, how he was addressing Petey?
It was the right move, because here's the thing. Sports also teach integrity. Sports teach integrity to not only respect yourself, but respect your teammates. And when Petey gave up, he was disrespecting the team. And now there is the other half of this. As someone who has been a practitioner of tough love, where you give somebody a little bit, you don't give them those, like, you say, suck it up, this and that. I've done that. And that doesn't always work with people. You might think it would work if you think, oh, I'm doing this to break through, to bolster their confidence. Like they can think that, oh, they'll really do it. It doesn't work. Some people really do need different types of communication.
It really does depend on the person.
Petey is the example of that in this. He needed a different type of communication that eventually the combination of different types got to it. And at the end there, Yost saying, you'll start next year, but you gave up on the team at this point. That was right, but he didn't yell at him. He just said, you gave up on the team. You're done for this game. But then it took the ability to put aside pride of Ryan Gosling's character to go, yeah, I can't keep up with these guys. They're killing us. But I want to win. And that's what it is. Realizing getting win. How many times have I talked about doing co-op stuff where, perfect example, when I do co-op gaming, especially for combat type co-op games, I'm a sniper. I choose sniper rifles, which means I'm going to be in the back. I'm not going to be up front. I'm on Overwatch half the time. I'm not getting high kill counts, but there are moments where the high-powered attack ability of my sniper rifle flips the battle when, oh, yeah, it takes me one shot to kill something as opposed to a dozen shots with your weapon, and I killed that thing that was bearing down on everybody, and I gave you guys a little breathing room. I'm not there for the big numbers. I'm there for the win. And when you get in these team sports, and I just translate it back to actual team sports, not just co-op video gaming, you understand, and Ryan Gosling's character understood, yeah, I want the win. It's more important we get the win. I've done my part. When you need to be when he needed to come off the bench when PD effed up, then that was it. He was ready. And then when it was his turn to say, yeah, now the other guy out there I don't have the athleticism to keep up, but PD does. And PD's fresh. Coach, put him in. It's my decision, not yours. For the team, we got to do this. And then that's what Yost wanted to see from his boys, the teamwork. And then, of course, PD's like, yeah, hell yeah. And PD had learned his lesson. He learned it.
And yeah, he was trying to prove himself a little bit then too. So it worked out in a really good way there, just like you're saying. And team sports really do bring out the integrity and help build a moral fiber. That's why I think sports are important.
Yes.
Find a sport that you're into.
That's it.
As a kid. I know that it's difficult. I really enjoyed swimming. That was the one that I
did swimming
loved.
too. I did that during the summer at the beach club summer camp stuff. I did swimming. I won blue ribbons in dolphin. There it is. Yeah, I forgot about swimming.
It's very good for you. It builds so many aspects of your character, and you don't want to force a kid into a sport that they're not interested in.
That's the key thing.
The dad's in football doesn't mean the kid has.
There
to be in
you
football.
go.
And drama doesn't get that across. A lot of people consider, hey, are you a theater kid or a sports kid? Theater brings up a lot of great things for you. I loved theater, absolutely.
Stage manager. Mr. Stage Manager.
It doesn't bring out the same character from you. And Ryan Gosling in the sequence, I have no idea what his character name is since he was such a small role.
Ryan Gosling.
He showed a lot of moral fiber in that moment. Self-awareness, I think, is a very important skill that most people don't have. Pride won't allow people to have a self-awareness these days. But when you're able to admit your own shortcomings for the greater good, that's way more respectable than being the best at everything or something like that.
You're
PD
right.
being able to get the win is not as impressive as Ryan being able to realize I'm not the right man for this job.
And we're right there. It's a key moment. If we lose this, we're done. And everything we worked for is out the window, because it may be the championship game, but it's not like other teams where, okay, you made it this far. Everybody's proud of you guys for making it this far. And now you're set up for a good run next year. No. Everything was on the line. Didn't matter. Boone
was going to get fired. Not that anyone knew that, but his livelihood was on the line with this one game.
Because of this, he would coach that team for another 5 years after this. So you look at this stuff, and like you said, it's very important. I too believe in sports, but you have to let your kid find the sport they're into. You have to let him find.
You can force him to try out, but you can't force him to.
It's the same with an instrument. If a kid takes a liking to an instrument, let them try it out and get into it. Don't make them play the piano. Don't make them do this stuff. Let these boys, and in a lot of cases girls, for their hobbies too, let them find what they love. Let them find the passion they have. Perfect example, Hayden Panettiere's character, the Yost daughter. I think this was her first acting role.
She killed it.
This is what pushed her to early stardom as a young actress. That little girl, that real life little girl had that kind of passion for football at 9 years old. 9 years old, understood what she was looking at. I still to this day don't understand what I'm looking at. I don't. I have tried my entire life to understand what I'm looking at in football plays. Because remember, I was also, when I was not forced to be on the defensive line, I was just defensive player. They just told me, get through the hole, kill the quarterback. That was my job. Right. Or stop the guy with the ball. I was not told to do any more than kill the guy whoever has the ball. That was my orders. They try to. So I to this day, and I know somewhere the guys we all know look at me going like this. I still can't read a football play.
It can get really complicated.
When I had Joe Montana Sports Talk Football 2 on my Genesis, I ran the two same plays over and over again, either power sweep or seam 999. Because the power sweep was just a nice little simple running play where I could get my running back through the opening and I could just maybe get a few yards, or 9-9 seam, which was just a big ass long throw because my brain could understand it. Every time I tried another play, trying to read the X's and the O's and the pathing, all that kind of stuff, my little boy brain could not comprehend. And to this day, my adult boy brain sort of comprehends, but hasn't really tried to comprehend because It's not like I'm watching football, but
No.
you understand what I'm saying?
It's very impressive the amount
yeah.
of knowledge that she had, and it seems like some of it was wrong though. I really like the scene where she's over at the Boone family's house. She's watching tapes of games with Coach Boone, and he's like, "What are you talking about? It's a run. It's not a throw." So I wonder how much of her knowledge is just bluster, and people just accept it because she says it so confidently. But no, she's one of my favorite characters. Same with Fat Boy. Fat Boy is really funny.
Now
And
that
he's
dude
yoked out.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say in real life, that dude has lost. I mean, that was early 2000s, and he was like that for another decade. Shortly after he was the brother on My Name Is Earl. After that, he got out of actor a bit, and that dude is fucking gigantic in the opposite way now. It's all muscle on that dude now. He's just that dude really turned his physical life around. Now I'm surprised as a human being, if the actual character was that big, how did he survive a season of football being that fat? It's like Billy Bob from Varsity Blues. How are you that fat and not dead playing these games?
I wasn't that fat, but I was a fat kid, and it's not fun. It is not fun playing team sports when you're
when puberty hit me, I put on the weight. Because my growth spurts were stunted, they didn't happen all at once. Puberty weight never really went away for all those years. It never went away. So I carried that weight for a long time. Honestly, I've never quite been in shape since then. I never quite can get to the shape I want to be in, but I'm working at it. By the time I get to May, I hopefully won't be as fat. Now that I'm not sick anymore, I can get back what I'm doing. I've been eating less. I'm being told lately by people looks like I'm losing weight again. So this is good. I'm happy with that. But that's portion control. It's portion control. That's half the battle.
Makes a huge difference. Yeah.
Half the battle. Half the battle is portion control. Other half is just get that exercise in. Burn the extra up the calorie.
It's a simple equation. People act like it's a calculus, but it's really
food
and exercise.
Listen, I eat whatever I want. I just eat a normal amount of it. You know, so it's fine. Just don't overdo it, because you got to eat everything to be healthy, and then just work out. Just get a little workout in. Now I don't do hard workout because I work out at the home. I don't go to the gym or anything. I have equipment in the house here that I use, and I use I used to do P90X, so I learned how to use my own body as the weight for what I need to do sometimes. But either way, that's impressive that he physically turned his life on. That in real life, that actor became just fucking huge in the opposite right way. But it overall, though, the whole concept is the whole point is, I mean, we haven't really talked about the scenes of the movie because it's more about talking about the game and talking about
the game, but the characters. Well, I think they're incredibly well written, and they're really good for getting us invested in them. Like Fat Boy, I don't remember his name well either. I think Lewis, but he doesn't have a ton of screen time.
No,
but he's very important at bridging the gap. He's the one who ignites the
shows up first
coming down. Yeah, he shows up first, sits at the black table, and he's like, "Yeah, I don't have a people, I don't have a home." And it was the same thing with Sunshine as well. The two military kids move around, and they're just doing what they have to make whatever friends they can. And the traveling around as military kids makes a lot of sense for that. There's still such great humor with his characters, well tied in with his arc of going to college. Just C+ average is all that he was going for, and he pulled it off in the end. And
in real life, he became a businessman. In real life,
yeah, he put his degree to good use, and this season really shaped the real life of these people in that town. Because that's why I don't focus on the game as much as you do, because I see it as so much more than that. Is breaking down these divides, making them into better people. And all the benefits of team sports in general are really being played out through the rest of their lives.
Yeah.
So I that's why I called this at the very beginning a feel-good movie. Everything's entirely predictable. As soon as you read the blurb about this movie, you know the plot. It's about segregation on a team sport. Okay, they're going to start out enemies, become friends, and then win in the end.
Yeah, and being history, they're not going to make a movie about historically a team that lost.
Right. So there's no surprises. Everything just is what you expect, and it feels good about that. Like, as soon as they start talking about Fat Boy trying to work up his grades, he's going to end up working up his grades and going to college. Petey's going to have that little arc that he has on. Like, all these arcs are entirely predictable, but it works in a way that feels good. I'm not going to give this a crazy over the top score because it's not complicated. It's not well written. It's not trying to push the mold of this type of genre. It is delivering exactly what you expect from the genre and trying to entertain you. Despite the subject matter, I consider this movie escapism. It's dealing with heavy subject matter.
Yeah. And what the movie does well, some sports movies get the cinematic sport aspect right and some don't. This movie gets it right. It's able to shoot the simulated sports as they're going on in this because it's obviously not a real game, but they get it right. You're drawn in. You feel it. Your suspension of disbelief is not broken that these guys are really playing the game, and it's shot well. And it's shot well. I mean, that final shot where out of nowhere they're going to bring in Rev, who's recovered from his broken wrist by then, to be the running back. And then have Sunshine be his blocker. That kind of scene it's a classic scene, but it's filmed so well that you're going, yeah, because you're drawn in, and also I love that kind of sequence where somebody runs blocking for somebody else. I always and whenever they show that kind of stuff in football, real life or simulated, I love that stuff because it's like, I'm gonna make sure they don't touch you. I'm going to protect
teamwork,
you. Yeah, I love that. All that kind of stuff. And they won it. And they win it because it's a surprise move. And you see the teamwork and you see the two guys who you would think would be at each other's throats because Rev was the quarterback, but he got hurt. And here comes Sunshine, who has the arm, but didn't have the experience of, pitches and handoffs and stuff like that. But he learned, and there was no jealousy because it was about to win. And Sunshine proved to be of the phenomenal quarterback they needed, able to command on the field, to scramble and to read the field right and have the arm to reach his receivers. So it's a great thing to watch. And I love watching teamwork. I love watching teamwork. It stirs something in me. I love seeing good teamwork, and I love seeing people work for the benefit of the team in the proper way, where it's the victory for all of us because we all earn this. Every single person there had a role to do it. And even at the very end, because there was always that little bit of tension between Boone and Yost about your defense on offense. And right there at the end, okay, we have to work together here. Somebody had to swallow their pride. And it was first Yost and then Boone. And suddenly, okay, let's get crazy. Let's get unique on defense. Let's show them something they haven't seen before. Let's play a little Iron Man. And it got him. But that's the good character work, and it built up to that point. And the trust
with Boone, he really doesn't come across as a character that you expect an arc from. He's just the hard ass who pushes other characters in his arcs. But his perspective was flawed, in my opinion.
Yes.
Early on in the film, they say, "I run 6 plays and they always work." Anyone who's played football knows that's a terrible, terrible idea. And he dismisses trick plays entirely. Like, we're never going to do that. That's cheating. And he's so narrow in his focus. I actually see him as a little bit of a hypocrite. During the football camp sequence, that big, what is that, the first act? He's always telling them, break down the divides between the races, listen to the people.
But he fights with Yost all the time.
He's refusing to. He's not even trying. But finally, by the end of the film, he realizes, I'm not enough for this. He realizes that just because he's the coach doesn't mean he's not a part of the team. So he tries to trick play, and it works. They needed that trick play.
You're absolutely right. That is why Boone's character, I agree with you, he is flawed through most of the movie, which makes it a good character because you're realizing he's a good man trying to do right by these boys, but he still can't get his front of being tough doesn't have to be up all the time. And eventually
antagonizing the public is not something he should be doing. Yeah. And he doesn't understand the psychology of Petey. Petey was probably going to snap a month before he did without Yost coming in and saying, hey, man, why don't you try the defense? I think we have a good place for you there.
You can't put the pressure.
Yost was a much softer hand than Boone was to Petey. And Boone I see is incredibly, he puts his family in danger. He's dismissive of Shirley being put in the danger when the brick comes through the window, antagonizing the public, yelling constantly, and misunderstanding the psychology. But like you said, his heart is always in the right place. He is trying to make this work. for partially selfish reasons. I mean, it's his job, it's his livelihood,
Yeah.
and everything like that. But I do believe that he cares for these boys. Just
Yeah,
like,
he did. I mean, you see it when Gary gets hurt, everybody feels it. And Julius most of all, because they had really bonded on a level that only, you know, throwing gay jokes out the window, that only men can understand on a certain type of bond like that, where you connect and nothing else matters, and that is my boy, that's my brother, and the fact that he's able to remain strong while Julius is at a breaking point there, and everybody's broken in that moment though, and you see it.
It's heartbreaking.
It is, and
it's Gary's fault. He was showing off.
He was just like, yeah, and he started hitting the accelerator without even looking where he was going. He got himself in that accident. Unfortunately, a decade later, he dies because of somebody else's ignorance, because he got killed in a drunk driver accident where he was just the victim, not the perpetrator, which is sad. And, somewhat.
That funeral at the end really hits hard.
See,
I got a little emotional near the end.
I felt it. See, I've seen this movie, I think, twice before now in the long run. And when it starts, I'm thinking, okay, I remember somebody died, remember somebody in the hospital. It wasn't until about halfway through that I remembered it was Gary that was the one who gets hit in the hospital. I didn't remember if he died there, but I couldn't remember if he was the one who eventually died, which is it's such a crazy real life turn of events that a car accident cripples him, and then a car accident eventually kills him in real life again. That's life, man. And sometimes it is the unironic connections of what takes somebody out. That I don't play around with this kind of stuff, but a car was always going to be his end. It looks like it's a freaky thing to think about. Thing to think about. Either way, but as a true story, it's an uplifting story. It really hits home with the whole dealing with the end of segregation and integration and the true racial tensions, which, as we talked about at the beginning of this, doesn't exist. That doesn't exist today. That the people who cry racism have no idea what real racism was. What we saw,
acknowledge how far we've come, or otherwise that advancement means nothing.
Yeah, what we saw represented at the beginning of this movie, that was true racism. That was the real thing from the mid 20th century. Now, no, not wanting a race or gender swapped character in a movie or TV show, that's not racism. Be unhappy with something because the black actor happens to be the lead actor, it's not racism. They just did a shitty job. Reva, we're looking at you. Moses
Can
Ingram.
you imagine if some of the stuff that happened in this movie, like at the beginning, actually happened now? The crazy shit that would happen?
That would be real, but it's not. No, nobody's being told you can't sit here. Nobody's being told go sit over there. No one's being told this is our table, not yours. It's not like that. It's not. There are agitators out there that want to pretend it is the victimhood culture, but it's not. There is no systemic racism anymore. That's gone. You could point and say, "Oh, you're full of shit." No, I've lived enough of my life right now to know what racism looks like, and the systemic racism that this movie represents in the beginning, that people were fighting through and trying to get past, does not exist today. Doesn't.
At the same time, there's going to be people on the opposite end of that who are coming after us for acknowledging this movie and saying, "Oh, this is just a precursor to woke. How dare you like this movie?"
It was real life.
And yeah, exactly. We can, just like I said, you have to acknowledge how far you've come.
Yeah.
And we have come really far, but that isn't to say that there wasn't a massive problem when all this started. I really like the history that they show in this movie with going back to Gettysburg, talking about that field. It makes me want to watch the Gettysburg movie with Sam Elliott.
I think wasn't Denzel in that one too, or am I thinking of Glory?
I think it was Glory. I don't think he was in.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it was Glory. I think I'm thinking of Glory.
Everybody was in that Gettysburg movie, but except for him.
Yeah,
I don't know how I don't know how you feel about it, but pretending for a moment that this film wasn't a historical piece. At the end of the film, I was just thinking, man, I wish Gary didn't get crippled so we could have a sequel of Gary and Julius in Vietnam. Like, actually in the fire, actually being blood brothers. I think that would have been a really good action movie.
Well, they didn't.
Well, no shit.
All right. You got anything else you want to say?
No, I pretty much said it all. I think,
all right.
Yeah, it's just a really uplifting film.
That's your week, so you get to score first.
Perfect. Yeah, all my thoughts still apply here. It's a very heartwarming film. I still consider it escapism despite the heavy social commentary that it has. It's not asking us to vote. It doesn't mention the politics and power at the time or anything like that. It's just the message of the film is encapsulated very well at the end by Yost is you've taught me to look at the soul of the man rather than what he looks like. And that transcends all politics, all divides, and something that we should all be able to get behind.
Yeah.
And I just love this movie. Even as a kid who wasn't into any sports movies at all at that age, I loved this movie. I love the characters. I got emotional. I still have to give it a fairly low score because it's by the book. It's by the numbers. It's predictable. It's expected and doesn't surprise you in any way, shape, or form. So I have to give this movie in the end a 7 out of 10.
I'm not far off from you. It's a good movie, well acted, well produced. As I talked about it, I enjoy a good sports movie that gets across the positive aspects of sports and teamwork. The character work is good. These are real life, even though you said a little dramatized here and there. This really happened. But in the end, it's a basic movie. It's nothing special. It's very Disney-fied, even though they do lead into these social issues of that time pretty well. So I give it a 7.5. It's not that far off because unless this is not something that I'm going to go back to. It's not a movie I go back to and watch. It's not something that is on my repeat watch list anyway. So with that said, even though next week is Super Bowl weekend, we're not going to do another football movie. I'm going to go in the complete opposite direction. Jed, I think you might want to buy this movie for $1. You didn't get that reference, did you?
I did not.
Because I know you haven't seen this. Well, dead or alive, you're coming with me. We're watching RoboCop. We're watching RoboCop. Dun-dun-dun-dun, yes. I decided I'm going the complete opposite direction of reality. We are going to go full fiction. We're going to have a good time. We're going to watch RoboCop shoot off dicks and people telling bitches to leave. It's going to be great.
Yeah, this is the 2010 version, right?
No, this is Peter Weller. This is the original.
Kurtwood Smith.
This is good stuff. Bitches leave. Cocaine everywhere. It's awesome. Guys in toxic waste of melting. This movie is glorious. It is glorious. It is unapologetic. It is action movie. It's awesome, but it's also what is the human soul? What is the human soul? Anyway, we're going to watch RoboCop for next week. So thank you, everybody, for joining us today. We hope you had a good time. Hit those like buttons, subscribe, and we'll be back next week. Until then, take it easy, everybody.